Read from Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th canto, chapter 16, verse 25, which is on the board. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Falgunasya
Falgunasya
Pakshe
Pakshe
Dvadasha Aham
Vadashaham
Payovrata
payovrata
Archayet
Archayet
Aravinda Aksham
Aravindaksham
Bhaktya
Bhaktya
Paramaya
Paramaya
Anvitaha
Anvitaha
Falgunasya Male Pakshe
Falgunasya Male Pakshe
Dvadashaham Payovratam
Vadashaham payovrtam
Archayet Aravindaksham
Archayadaksham
Bhaktya Paramayanvita
Bhaktya Paramayanvita
Falgunasya Male Pakshe
Falgunasya Male Pakshe
Dvadashaham Payovratam
Vadashaham payovrtam
Archayet Aravindaksham
Archayadaksham
Bhaktya Paramayanvita
Bhaktya Paramayanvita
Falgunasya Male Pakshe
Falgunasya Male Pakshe
Dvadashaham Payovratam
Vadashaham payovrtam
Archayet Aravindaksham
Archayadaksham
Bhaktya Paramayanvita
Bhaktya Paramayanvita
Please repeat.
Falgunasya Male Pakshe
Falgunasya Male Pakshe
Vadasaham payovrtam
Dvadashaham Payovratam
Archayet Aravindaksham
Archayet Aravindaksham
Bhaktya Paramayanvita
Bhaktya Paramayanvita
Falgunasya Pakshe
Falgunasya Male Pakshe
Devasaksham Payovratam
Dvadashaham Payovratam
Archataravindaksham
Archayet Aravindaksham
Bhaktya Paramachatvanvita
Bhaktya Paramayanvita
Falgunasya Male Pakshe
Falgunasya Male Pakshe
Vadashaham Payovritaham
Dvadashaham Payovratam
Archayet Aravindaksham
Archayet Aravindaksham
Bhaktya Paramayanvitaham
Bhaktya Paramayanvita
Falgunasya Male Pakshe
Falgunasya Male Pakshe
Dvadashaham Payovratam
Dvadashaham Payovratam
Archayadarvindaksham
Archayet Aravindaksham
Bhaktaya Paramayanvitaha
Bhaktya Paramayanvita. Now it's complete. Word by word. Falgunasya
Falgunasya
of the month of Falguna.
the month of
Falguna. February and March.
February and March.
Amale
Male
during the bright.
during the bright
Pakshe
Pakshe
fortnight.
fortnight
fortnight.
Dvadasha Aham
Vadashaham
for 12 days.
for
12 days
Ending with Dvadashi,
ending with Dvadashi
the day after Ekadashi.
the day after Ekadashi
Ekadashi.
Payavratam
payovrata,
accepting the vow of taking only milk.
accepting the vow of taking only milk.
Archayat,
archayat,
one should worship.
One should worship
Aravinda Aksham,
Aravinda Aksham,
the lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead.
the lotus eyes
the
of
Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Bhaktya,
Bhaktya,
with devotion.
with devotion,
Paramaya,
Paramaya,
unalloyed.
Analoy,
Anvita,
Anvita,
surcharged.
surcharged.
Charge.
Translation: in the bright fortnights of the month of Falguna, February and March, for 12 days, ending with Dvadashi, one should observe the vow of subsisting only on milk and should worship the lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead with all devotion. So here it's Kashyapa Muni who is instructing his wife Aditi on the process to follow, to worship the Lord and to fulfill both her, let's say, material needs to find back her sons, but also to enlighten her in the process of bhakti. So he engages her in the payovrata, which is a bona fide bhakti process. Now we read the purport. And this part of the chapter, starts to describe in detail this process, what it means and how it should be performed. So purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Worshipping the Supreme Lord Vishnu with devotion means following Archana Marga. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Palasevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, Sakyam Atma Nivedanam. One should install the deity of Lord Vishnu or Krishna and worship him nicely by dressing him, decorating him with flower garlands, and offering him all kinds of fruits, flowers, and cooked food, nicely prepared with ghee, sugar, and grains. One should also offer flame, incense, and so on, while ringing a bell as prescribed. This is called worship of the Lord. Here it is recommended that one observe the vow of subsisting only by drinking milk. This is called payovrata. As we generally perform devotional service on Ekadashi by not eating grains, it is generally recommended that on Dvadashi, one not consume anything but milk. Payovrata and Archana devotional service to the Supreme Lord should be performed with a pure devotional attitude, bhaktya. Without bhakti, one cannot worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavan chasmi tad pataha. If one wants to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead and be directly connected with Him, knowing what He wants to eat and how He is satisfied, one must take to the process of bhakti. As recommended here also, bhaktya paramayan vita. One should be surcharged with unalloyed devotional service. End of the purport. We'll read the verse again. In the bright fortnight of the month of Falguna, February and March, for 12 days, ending with Dvadashi, one should observe the vow of subsisting only on milk and should worship the lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead with all devotion. Om Ajnanatmidandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Shcha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namaham Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Nam Eva Kevalam Karunastheva Gatiranyata Shri Dai Sachisuta Ki Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Paramahanam Ki Jai Shri Radha Parishishvara Ki Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki. So interesting verse. We are entering into the detail of this payovrata. Payovrata means literally the vow of subsisting or maintaining ourselves only with milk. This is the meaning of payovrata. And this process is now given by Kashyapa Muni to his wife, Aditi, as we mentioned. And himself, Kashyapa Muni, received it back then from whom did Kashyapa Muni receive this instruction of this process of worship? Brahma, very good. And what did he want to achieve by following this process? You remember?
For children?
Yes, very good. And indeed he wanted to follow this process to get children. Yeah. And now, again, connected with children, he advised Aditi to follow this path. And it is a 12 days process. So who wants to achieve perfection in 12 days of worship? Anyone would like that. And this process, as any process of spiritual practice and any activity or vow we may take, should always be considered with the advice of senior devotees and the spiritual master, because any vrata, spiritual vow that we may try to follow, if it's not sanctioned by the devotees, by the spiritual master, may not lead very far, because if it's not done in that direction, it means it's mostly for ulterior motive, which is most probably not pure bhakti. Yeah, sometimes we may have this tendency to try to make an extra effort, extra austerity, but in the end, because we are so humble, we don't want to say it to anyone, not to be puffed up. But it may also happen that we try to follow this vow and we may succeed temporarily. I remember following Ekadashi, because it's mentioned here. Dry Ekadashi at the beginning was very fanatic, and you follow dry Ekadashi, and then you think, I managed, and look, they didn't manage, I managed. And then after on, I heard, but if you're in that mindset, better not do. I said, why so? Because actually, you become just proud, and you feel superior to others. And the devotee, the more he advances, the more he should feel humble and lower than anyone else, because he sees pure devotee sees everyone around him, actual devotees, and himself lower than a chandala and a full materialist. And this is it. This extra austerity or this extra vrata, if it's not sanctioned or followed in a particular way on the instruction of a spiritual master, may lead to not good results. And this is called, actually Rajaguna, because Rajaguna, one symptoms of Rajaguna is that we perform an activity. It can be seen in charity, in austerity. We do it with a motive. We want to get something from this. And then it becomes an interested activity. And because we want to get something, then there are consequences for that. And when we want to get something, it means something material. Or some advancement also, to do something to get some matter from spiritual advancement as well, to reach this or that level is also kind of interested activity. It's not considered pure devotional service. Pure devotional service means without any motive, of course, material man. But what is material motive? It's a motive, a goal that we pursue for ourselves. So sometimes we may be fed up with this material world and want to reach Vaikuntha planet where there is no anxiety. But is it really for Krishna that we are doing it? Or it's because we want to get rid of these poor conditions here? And so we want. This should be our question. And pure devotional service suggests that it's only and solely for the pleasure of the Lord. So quite high level. It's not because it's high level, a high consciousness that we should, and we don't feel at this level, that we should neglect it. Yeah, for now we may not be ready, but always be reminded of this golden standard and try to slowly but surely go towards this direction. Here, so Kashyapa Muni instructs in detail about this payovrata, and he starts to explain about when to perform it and how long to perform it. So it's between February and March. There is specific time. It's for 12 days, ending with Dvadashi. And for 12 days, you subsist only on milk, and at the same time, you should worship. We cannot properly worship the Lord only through our austerities. Austerity by itself may help, but the Lord is not only pleased by our austerities, and He wants for His pleasure that we engage all our senses, either gross material senses and subtle senses, in His worship, and that we are fully connected for His pleasure, but also and foremost for the pleasure of His devotees. He says that the worship of His devotees are even more important than His worship. So, and we know in our process in following the footsteps of the Guru Parampara that we cannot jump over the devotees to reach Krishna. We cannot directly serve Krishna unless we serve His devotees and His bona fide representative. And how can we just, before talking about Krishna, how can we properly serve the spiritual master if we don't serve his other disciples? And that consideration should help us to put more emphasis on properly also caring for the devotees and follow their advice also, because themselves, especially if they took the vow of initiation, they are initiated, they are following the instruction of their spiritual master, and they want to please their spiritual master by sharing this knowledge, this devotional process practice with everyone. And any advice that they may give is in accordance with the Guru Parampara, with their spiritual master, for the sake of the devotees who are starting to practice, who want to go further in their devotional practice. And so, yeah, not only our austerities, but mostly our attitude of service. This is the point. If we do austerity but we don't serve the Vaishnavas, doesn't make sense. And because it's mentioned about Ekadashi, it's quite a regular topic, Ekadashi. There are always detailed questions, how to do in this, what should we eat, not eat. You know, there is always some discussions or some controversy about Ekadashi, how to properly follow Ekadashi. Should we eat peanuts, not peanuts, buckwheat, not buckwheat? Is it allowed, not allowed? You know, there are always these detailed questions. And actually, I heard that there are 5 ways of following an Ekadashi. If we talk about the austerity part. And each of them is stricter than the other one. So let's take the stricter one is to do Nirjala Ekadashi, meaning you don't take anything, either drinking or any food. This is the, let's say, the highest standard of following Ekadashi. After that is the, when you follow Ekadashi just by sustaining with water.
Gel.
Water.
Yeah, that is gel.
Jala Ekadashi. Oh, thank you. I didn't know that. Yeah, because Nirjal means without water. Okay, thank you. The third level, which Prabhupada mentions quite regularly on his classes, is to follow Ekadashi by sustaining with milk and fruits. Take milk and just fruits on Ekadashi. This is what he quite often recommends in his lectures. This was mentioned by Chandramauli Maharaj. Then the fourth grade of following Ekadashi is to take some foods, of course, no grains, no cereals, no beans and so on, but not cooked. This is also one way to follow Ekadashi. You take, for instance, salads, raw food, you know, this is one way to follow Ekadashi also. And the fifth level, because Prabhupada is so merciful and realized that Westerners would not be able to follow these 4 first one, he also gave possibility to fast from only cereals and grains. Yeah, and this is commonly what we try to follow in any temple. This is the minimum, let's say, that we are following. Again, doing this is important because this austerity is actually, because Ekadashi is considered as the mother of devotion. Prabhupada himself was very strict with Ekadashi. He was following any Ekadashi. And we follow in his footsteps, so we should also consider to be serious about Ekadashi and to do this minimum of fasting from cereals and grains. And because, yeah, it's mother of devotion, we want this devotion, no? We are practicing devotional service to get this devotion for Krishna. And when we want to know how to please the Father, we go to the Mother, and by respecting the Mother, we can get, you know, her benedictions also. And yeah, to respect Ekadashi, there is this austerity part, but it should not be again opposed to practicing devotional service to serve the Vaishnavas. So, on one side, we follow the minimum, grains and cereals we don't take. And on the other side, we choose what is suitable for us, what is in our capacity, that we can handle both serving the Vaishnavas, performing our devotional activities, either it's puja, book distribution, kirtans, translating books, you know, whatever is our daily schedule or regular engagement in bhakti. And yeah, combine these two. There's a austerity which we can accept and which doesn't prevent from doing our daily activities. If at some point we realize that we do dry Ekadashi and, you know, in our meditation, we start to think only about when will I start to break Ekadashi, you know, better choose a lower level, because the meditation should not be on when should I break the Ekadashi, but okay, how can I engage more in Krishna's service? Ekadashi should be seen as a benediction for us to plunge more in the service of Krishna, because it means, you know, we take aside the bodily needs, you know, we diminish them as much as we can. And by doing this, it means there is more time for serving Krishna. And also, if you already tried to fast from some ingredients or some mono-diet things, you know, when you eat less diverse foods, when you try to sustain on milk or on a drink or on some one food, your digestion process is easier, and there is more energy also for serving. And this helps, yeah, to focus more on Krishna. This should be the target. So if you don't know how to choose about these 4-5 types of fasting for Ekadashi, better ask an experienced devotee, and that way you can find the proper way to do it. It's always better. Even if you think you can do this, better ask. That's the main thing. Because by asking to a devotee, you are getting a humble position of, okay, I'm not sure of what I'm doing, and you get advice and inspiration from that devotee. And you know, because there is someone who told you, then when you are starting your vrata of following the Ekadashi in that way, then you have also some strength, some help, and you know that your friend is there if you need. This is helping. And this was my discovery when reading the purport. That's why I was emphasizing when reading it. But Srila Prabhupada recommends that on Vadashi, it's the first time I heard it, one should not consume anything but milk. Never heard it before.
Maybe this is related to this payovrata purport.
No.
It's general.
It's written, it is generally recommended that on Dvadashi, one not consume anything but milk. Good to know. Yeah. Even the class I was listening, there was a 20 years experienced devotee who said, but it's the first time I hear about it. How come? And Chandamani Maharaj said, yeah, welcome in the new area of devotional service. You can now update your practice. You know, I don't think it's mentioned quite often, this Dvadashi.
How you break the fast of Ekadashi in this case?
Yeah, actually, the break of Ekadashi, it's not a full meal, it's just a grain. So you take the grain, you know, but you sustain the rest of the day with milk. That's the thing. The breaking fast during the Tithi, there is this period of time. In this period of time, to respect, again, properly the Ekadashi break, you take this grain of rice or cereal to honor it, and then you consume only milk. This is actually the recommendation here, if you can. Again, because some devotees, some Westerners, for instance, are more and more intolerant with milk. So for some of them, it's quite difficult to apply this, not to say impossible. And Maharaj mentioned that this milk should be actually ahimsa milk. So when Srila Prabhupada talks about, you know, this milk, it should be ahimsa, without violence. And by Krishna's mercy, we may, in France, one day get this opportunity for all the devotees in the yatra to get this ahimsa milk. New Mayapur is already starting to have his own milk for the deities at least. We can see that there are more and more cows coming and pasturing the grounds here and there, sorry. And it's quite inspiring to see this way of life and to develop some autonomy in getting the milk and getting the veggies, the fruits. Slowly but surely it's coming, and this is what Srila Prabhupada wanted, not for every center, but in every country to have a rural community is quite a good already goal to achieve, and you can inspire them, the whole country, to get also to this standard, because when you settle a standard and people come and see that, naturally you become inspired. Some newcomers discover this new Mayapur Dham for the first time, not because of Krishna, but because it's a eco village, eco place. Let's go and see how it works, to work on the land, to sustain from, and to have their own milk from the cow, which are protected. How does it, what it changes, and they get experience from that. And as devotees, we can also feel the real difference. For instance, with the milk, when you take the milk from the shop or even from the farm nearby here, it's incomparable with the milk from the protected cows in New Mayapur. Taste is amazing. It's like very pacifying, and you feel so much love in this milk. It's like incomparable. So this experience then gives some taste, gives some desire to do it better and to try to develop it further. And because also we are talking about milk, about austerity and devotional service, Lord Chaitanya himself, through one of his pastimes, showed that we cannot get Krishna by our austerities. You may remember this Brahmana who was quite well known because he was fasting and sustaining only with milk. And because of that, one day he wanted to have the darshan of Lord Chaitanya and to attend his kirtans, sacred kirtans in the Shrivas Sangam. Yeah, that's the name. So the place of Shrivas. And they were having night kirtans, sacred one and secret one, because a kirtan is not it's a sadhu sangha, and it's everyone comes and we should perform congregational chanting, but Lord Chaitanya also wanted to have this kirtan with his close associate, because there is a mood. Everyone comes in a kirtan or associate with devotees and bring his own mood. And Lord Chaitanya wanted to have this secret kirtan with his associate, close associate, to relish the holy names in such mood, in a particular mood. And this Brahmana hoped to get the opportunity to see the Lord dancing and singing. And so, he asked if he could join these kirtans. And the associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu kind of arranged him to be in the room, considering his austerity level and his desire to be in association with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The devotees, it's their mindset. They want to give anyone the opportunity to get closer to Lord Chaitanya. Why are we going on book distribution? For people to get closer to this Sankirtan movement, mission. Even those who are not ready for it, even those who are kind of offensive at the beginning, the devotee tries still to bring, following in the footsteps of Lord Nityananda, to give this mercy, to give this opportunity to anyone. And in this pastime, it's the same. The devotee are so merciful, they also want him to get this opportunity. What happened is that this Brahmana was hidden in the room. You know, so this moment, Lord Chaitanya with his associates started the kirtan. And they had regular kirtan in this Shiva Sangha. But this particular day, they started the kirtan and Lord Chaitanya was not satisfied. He felt something was different today. Shri Nitai Sachisuta ki jai, Shri Jagannath Baladev Supada Maharani ki jai, Shri Dadabari Shishwara ki jai. He felt, you know, it's nice, but something's going wrong. Something happens, that the mood is not aligned. What happens? And so he said like this, he stopped the kirtan, he said, what happened? And he was insisting, and you know, he didn't manage to plunge into this mood, Prem Sankirtan, and so he actually just stopped the kirtan and asked what happened, what is going on? And I think it was 2 times he stopped the kirtan, isn't it? Do you remember the anytime?
Je me rappelle plus des détails, mais je sais juste que c'est Shiva qui lui avait dit de se cacher.
Oui.
C'était une brahmachari.
Mm-hmm.
Et je me rappelle plus des détails. Et je crois que la première fois il a arrêté, il a dit non, on n'est pas caché.
Mm-hmm.
Et puis ça a continué, il a redemandé.
Voilà.
Oui.
So
Il a fini par dire oui, il y a ce brahmachari qui est très austère, et qui boit que du lait.
Ah oui, j'ai dit Brahman, c'était Brahmacharya.
C'est un Chaitanya, il a dit je crois qu'on peut me connaître juste en buvant du lait.
Yeah, that's it. So indeed, she was then said, actually, there is someone hidden here. He's a brahmachari, sustaining only on milk. He's very austere and wants to participate, which he don't refuse. And so the brahmachari went out, and Lord Chaitanya was angrily addressing him. And you think you can get me only by drinking milk? That's it? And he was chastising him so strongly, you know. And this brahmachari was like very down after. Shri Nitai Sachisuta ki jai, Shri Jagannath Baladev Supada Maharani ki jai, Shri Dadabari Shishwara ki jai. And Lord Chaitanya was so strong with him that this brahmachari just was sent out of the room. And at this point he realized that all his austerities have no point if they are not targeting to please the Lord. And right after having this mood, this realization, the Lord actually called him back to come in. And this is also the mercy of the Lord, that whatever our mistake may be, our misunderstanding, our attitude may be at some point of time, there is no definitive, there is no ultimate ban from the Lord. It will never be the case. The Lord is always ready to welcome us, provided we show proper attitude and respect, and we atone for our mistake. You know, we are conditioned souls here, so we will make any mistake. We are under illusion. We are prone to make mistakes. We are imperfect. We should accept it and work after we made the mistake. You know, go apologize and take responsibility for that and move on. You know, should not lament too long about these mistakes, but rather focus on Krishna and not, oh, my mistake, I did this mistake. No. Okay, now move on, go on Krishna, serve, and it will be okay. Chant Hare Krishna, please the devotees, serve them, and the Lord will be pleased. But you have to apologize for the mistake you did. It's not like, okay, I did offend a devotee, and I will do more service to compensate this offense. No, if you offend a devotee, for instance, you should, apologize towards this devotee. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Even though you may try other services, other or the practice, or the austerities to compensate, it will not work. Because we are all targeting for the ultimate relationship with Krishna, but Krishna is in the heart of every living entity. So how can we properly develop this relationship with Krishna if we don't see that Krishna is in the heart of this or that devotee, if we don't get this relation better with this devotee? So yeah, these were a few points that came to me regarding this verse. And yeah, so this process, payovrata process, when mother, but why don't we practice it? Actually, it could be recommended for us to follow, but this should be given by the spiritual master or the senior devotees, because it's a bona fide process. And we are following, there are two paths, so this Archana Marg and Bhagavata Marg. And when we perform Shravanam, Kirtana and Vishnu, it's actually the Bhagavata Marg. And Archana Marg is when we do the deity worship. And we were recommended to perform, we are recommended, and this is emphasized on by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur on his logo of Gaudiya Math. On one side there is the Archana Marg, on the other side Bhagavata Marg, and they should go in line. They are parallel, actually. But our goal as a temple is to preach, and so this deity worship should be aligned with preaching. It should be for the sake of preaching. That's why this temple is public. Otherwise, we would close the temple and perform probably more strictly some archana angas, I would say, to be more correct. But yeah, what would be the meaning if it's not to give the darshan, to give opportunity to Westerners to get the darshan of the Supreme Lord in his Archa Vigraha? He came because in this particular form, because we don't have yet the spiritual eyes to see him. So out of his causeless mercy, he comes as he is in this form, so that we can have his darshan, how we can meditate in accordance of the scriptures on his transcendental form. And it's so purifying. We may not realize it, but it is purifying. Some Indians, I would say, come every week to get the darshan of the Lord. Some of them, they just come, take darshan, have the darshan of the Lord for some minutes and then go. They don't stay for the class, they don't stay for prasadam, but they are so putting emphasis on getting the darshan of the Lord and engage their eyes in worshipping the Lord. And it's a great mercy that we have all over the world, thanks to Srila Prabhupada, to have association, to have darshan of the Lord. And soon I may go to Russia, passing through Istanbul for one day. Istanbul is in Turkey. I just hope there will be a temple nearby, to have the darshan of the Lord. And by Prabhupada's mercy, all of this was possible. So it's a great fortune we have if we can both, worship the Lord, perform deity worship, and then engage in spreading the holy name, spreading the transcendental literature, and get everyone to get this sambandha jnana, this knowledge of their eternal relationship with the Lord. It's a wonderful mercy. And Srila Prabhupada, later on in this chapter, he will mention that for the Krishna consciousness movement devotees, they don't actually need to do this payovrata. The Sankirtan Yaga is the one yaga to perform and contains the payovrata process. And the result we may achieve with this payovrata are also reachable, let's say, with the Sankirtan Yagya. This is an incredible mercy again that was given by Lord Chaitanya, by Srila Prabhupada, and our Guru Parampara. May not be achieved in 12 days, maybe 12 kalpas, but we can already release when we engage in this process. We can already release the effect, the connection with Krishna by, hearing from the book Bhagavata, associating with the person Bhagavatas. This process is already there, accessible, and we have to get patient. Actually, this patience. Wait the opportune moment. The opportune moment is when the Lord decides, not when we decide. And it will come. Why it would not? Any step done in this process towards Krishna is guaranteed to bring a spiritual benefit. Prabhupada, actually a pure devotee sees everyone as also a pure devotee, but they see that one way or another they are engaged, or they will be engaged in the service of Krishna one way or another, and so then what separates is just a matter of time. It's like when Srila Prabhupada saw this big piece of land in Mayapur, and he saw, this will be the dam here, this will be the headquarters, and there will be this inspiration for the whole Sankirtan mission spreading from here. And back then it was just a land. Or when he sees, this place, there are so many devotees, what separates us is just time. We can put our faith in Srila Prabhupada. And this faith in Srila Prabhupada and our Guru Parampara is so crucial for our advancement, because if we don't have faith in their words, and to get this faith we can read the scriptures, the left, follow the instruction they give, and get this experience that what they say actually works. You see the thing, we cannot have faith, we'll have little faith at the beginning, but if we don't cultivate it by following the instruction, the scriptures, then our faith will stagnate. If we don't associate with devotees, the same. This is it, this path from Shraddha to Prema is actually always a circle. Like you go to Sadhu Sangha, then it increases your faith. Then after Sadhu Sangha you start to practice, it increases also your faith, and it increases your Sadhu Sangha, and so it increases your Bhajana Kriya. And the more it goes, the more you get rid of your anarthas. And because you get rid of your anarthas, it increases your faith, because it works. It's always like this, feeding the previous steps. So it's never like, oh, okay, I went to Sadhu Sangha, woo, I finished Shraddha. No, it's always feeding the previous ones. So the lesson from this verse that we can retain, not necessary to engage in payovrata, but as Aditi will do, to follow the instruction of her husband, who has the role of guru. And this is the captain of our boat. As Tamal Krishna was saying on Sunday, the spiritual master represents the captain of our boats that will bring us from material ocean to the spiritual ocean, the Karuna Sindhu. Any comments, any questions, precision, corrections are welcome.
Always.
Please.
Every day.
Tell me.
First one, in this case, that spiritual master is not there for Aditi.
Sorry?
So Brahma instructed this payovrata to
Kashyapa.
Muni. So that is the spiritual. But in this case, so she asked, I need a children. So Guru didn't instruct, no? So there is no Guru for Aditi. So the Guru is only husband.
Yeah.
So Siksha Guru. How can you understand this point?
You are saying that Kashyapa Muni was having Brahma as a spiritual master,
Yeah, he having
and
so.
Aditi didn't have Kashyapa Muni as her spiritual master. That's what you are saying.
Yeah, yeah. And she asked herself like desire to have more children.
I see two questions in your question. One is regarding the spiritual master, like like there is difference between Diksha and Shiksha Guru, and you are asking if Aditi saw her husband as Shiksha or Diksha Guru. That's one question.
Yeah, how can we understand this point? Because she doesn't have any guru, and
yeah, and the second question is that she had some material desires, unlike Kashyapa Muni.
Yeah.
And so how
she had material desires. Yeah.
Okay. So for the first one, my understanding is that Aditi indeed has some here material motive to get her sons back, and she asked her husband, and her husband, who is a devotee, actually instructs her in devotional service. So I unfortunately don't know how if she considers him as her spiritual master, officially speaking, but she was asking instruction. So actually when you start to ask instruction, spiritual instruction from someone, you are hoping to get some spiritual instruction, right? So this person at least can be considered Shiksha Guru, or what we nowadays also call counselor or mentor. Doesn't mean it's Shiksha Guru, because there is kind of a different grades also between a mentorship, Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru. It's a bit different. Mentor is someone who will ask advice on some topics. Shiksha Guru and is like more close to you, like friendship. Mentor can be, it's not someone necessarily like superior to you, but someone whom you trust and you will ask advice. He has a little bit more advancement probably than you, otherwise you would not ask him. But he's more like interacting with you as a friend. Then Shiksha Guru is like more broad. It's not only on some topics, it's general guidance in our spiritual life. And at some point of our life, we may have different Shiksha Gurus. And ideally, they should be, how do you say, confirmed or confirmed by your Diksha Guru, if he's still in his present body, present in his body. And so Aditi here was definitely addressing to get her sons back, and because Kashyapa Muni gave her instruction to follow devotional practice, we can consider Kashyapa Muni as spiritual master. The husband, like Prabhupada also said, for the father is the first spiritual master in our life. He gives us the first instructions, how to walk, So he's also considered spiritual master in a way. Give us instructions. But the father, like my father, doesn't consider himself a spiritual master, of course. So this is one aspect of it. I don't know, Renita, if you have any more further precisions on that, how Aditi was considering Kashyapa Muni. Did she herself consider him spiritual master?
In Vedic culture, the Mataji woman was not initiated. They was always initiated through the husband. There was no initiation for women in Vedic culture, and the husband used to take initiation, and through the husband they get initiation. Like there was no second Brahmanica. Actually, initiation, like I said last time, in Vedic culture is mean Brahmanical initiation, is the Gayatri mantra. And in Vedic culture, woman was not receiving Vedic initiation, like Brahmanical initiation. So they was getting the message through the husband. But Prabhupada, because of mercy and because of his movement of spreading, he saw in our country that woman and man was on same level. They was trying to get the same level, so for the not making a shock, cultural shock, he accepted both.
And regarding, yes, thank you for the precisions. Yeah, it helps to clarify this point. Yeah. It is said, yeah, that the wife gets at least half of what the husband gets. You know, it has a spiritual lesson, not to say the full benefit of it. So that's why the wife is advised to follow in the footsteps of her husband, to serve her husband and help him in the mission. That's the purpose of Grihastra ashram also. You may know some spiritual masters in our movement who are remaining being spiritual master, entitled to give initiation, remaining grihasthas.
Yeah.
And themselves, they consider that at some point they were asked, okay, would you want to become sannyasi and so on? And I know one of them who replied that no, for now, this situation is favorable. It's more opportunities of preaching. I am helped in this mission, so in my case, I actually don't see any good reason for that. It will be probably less opportunities for me now of preaching if I change the ashram. So yeah, this is one aspect. The second aspect of your question regarding Aditi, yes, she had material desires, but Krishna says that either you have material desires or not. We saw it recently. This is a verse from Bhagavatam. Either you have or you don't have material desires. Just engage in the devotional service of the Lord, because He is the ultimate shelter, and there is no other way to, to direct your senses and your desires towards Krishna than to engage in His service. And that's how Kashyapa Muni engaged in Aditi in this way.
So now I understood from next chapter, because of this payovrata, the Lord is appears as son, and he delivers all the material desires and her mother. He comes as what is it? Her son, no? Vamana. Aditi. Next chapter, the Supreme Lord agrees to become Aditi's son. The result of payovrata, Lord comes before. So if first like same like Dhruva, he has material desire, then later on he wanted to sit on his father, then Narada instructs. Same like here also, she had a material desire, then later she becomes devotee.
Yeah. So you see, it works like, and we all have material desires when we engage in devotional service. We come to Krishna consciousness because we have one of these four, we want wealth, we want to avoid suffering, we were curious, we want to understand the absolute truth. This is it. We want something at the beginning for ourselves. And then, through the process, if we are properly guided and we follow the instruction of bona fide spiritual master, then we have a chance to make it change and to retarget our desires not for ourselves but for Krishna. This is the hope, and this is the process given by Srila Prabhupada. Okay, we'll stop here. Thank you so much for your participation and attentive hearing. Shrimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ganga Mata ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.